Yeah, we'd love to hear. We'd love to hear what you think as far as why Biden is, let's call it mostly to blame for the loss in 2024. If you want to take it away.
That's correct.
Sure.
Yeah, well, it's pretty straightforward. Because just to be clear, I think that the Democrats would probably lose either the House or the Senate still in 2024. But I think Joe Biden was the anchor that sunk.
But again, he wasn't on the ballot, and I know what you mean by that. But what do you mean by that?
Come on, dog.
You mean like they still would have lost even if he didn't run again and let the primary play out. That's what you mean, correct?
If he didn't run again, if they let the primary play out, and we end up with a probably Pete Buttigieg or something to that effect.
What? Agree to disagree.
I think. Really? Who do you think would have?
Nah, just keep going. It's good. It's good. Keep going.
Sure. I just threw a name out there to be fair, but I think they probably win. Democrats probably win the presidency in 2024, and they lose one of the House or the Senate, but they don't lose to Trump. I think, and I think the way that they dragged Joe Biden through about 8 months of campaigning just to bring him to the first debate stage on national television, and he just metaphorically shits the bed on stage.
Do you think Kamala performed better than Biden would have? I think that's true.
I think if Kamala wins in what way?
Like if Biden was on the ballot, Democrats would have done worse for sure. Just because that was, and I don't want to say for sure. That's actually not fair. But the polls bore that out. No doubt. No doubt.
I do think that's true. I do think that Kamala probably pulled better numbers than Biden would have had he saw it through.
So, that's always what gets me. It's like, you can say, we had a primary cycle. What is the thing? Because, how about this? Let me ask you this. Did Kamala have a little surge, enough of a momentum? She wasn't a bad candidate as far as the crowd she was pulling, right? And how she did compare to Biden. Is that correct or no?
Sure. I agree with that.
So that being said, we go through the primary like you would have liked, and I would have liked to, and any brain dead idiot on the left anywhere would have liked. Who's doing better than that? Like, what's winning? Go ahead. People are just not winning. People just okay. Go ahead,
the problem is when Biden is surrounded by a team of people who are encouraging him, or at the very least not telling him he shouldn't run again.
Sure.
And then
because he did run,
his actual state of mind is sort of kept under wraps until his first debate. Mm-hmm. If Biden was smart, he wouldn't have done a debate at all.
I agree.
But I do think
or even done the normal debate schedule of down the road, and then you're locked in September. I mean,
that might have been worse. No,
it would have been it would have been worse because it would have been worse because what they're doing now, let's say, would have been faster, if you can even think and believe that. But yeah, there would have been more of a rubber stamp. I mean, if you have a bigger majority in Congress on both sides, then you just have more of a rubber stamp, which is why everyone on the left will forever be frustrated in Obama in 2008, 2010. You suck. Anyways.
True. A lot of wasted political capital.
60 votes in the Senate and had the House. What are we doing here? Obama.
Wasted
still liked him, whatever. But yeah, I just back to the point.
My thing is, he clearly had been sort of more or less losing it mentally. Right, and it doesn't matter that he was doing good things.
That's fine.
That's
as
not
far
what
as
sells a presidential candidate in the U.S. And the fact that so many Democrats were going along with it until it was obvious it was a problem.
What does going along with it mean? I don't even know what that means. What does going along with it mean? Like, who? You make it sound like they were blessing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just don't know.
They weren't telling him to get the fuck out of the way. Let me ask you
this. And they should have. And look, but here's the thing. Hey, let me stop you. They should have, but they should have on the grounds of what he said in 2020. It's not about if he was senile. He was still running the day-to-day job. And dude, let's be fair. Yo, come on. You're gonna throw away firsthand accounts from people around him who said the day-to-day in his decision-making, he wasn't some senile guy. He might have looked that way in many different ways. And he even is going senile. I admit that. This whole thing gets overblown as if it's fucking Weekend at Bernie's. Shit was not Weekend at Bernie's. That's so stupid. You feel me?
I mean,
It just was.
it
It wasn't.
It was weekend at Biden's. Got
Oh
him.
my god, dude! And
Uh,
that's fine. It's a good joke, but it's not real. It's not real.
but it doesn't matter because here's what it doesn't
yeah,
matter. It's how
sure.
you come off
No, I
in
agree.
the pop
Election-wise,
culture. So
election-wise, he
the
was
average
senile
voter
for
doesn't give
sure.
a fuck that day to day.
That's
it was
fine. I
great.
just
Don't give a
still
shit.
have to say it out loud because the other shit gets talked about all the time, and what doesn't actually get talked about is like there were people who literally got interviewed who worked day to day around him and said like, yes, he was an older man, and that way he was senile, but he was still fine. He was still capable. He was still decision making. You know, the fucking election cycle and the debate stage like age you quicker and make you look more senile in ways, so you have to be sharp, and he fucking wasn't. He was old as balls and he shouldn't have been running.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Of course. Like
Misspoke a lot. Well, listen,
and I'm gonna
right,
drop
you
it right
can-
now. I'm gonna drop it. The other side never gets chatted about at all. It just feels like everyone thinks Biden was fucking Weekend at Bernie's again, in all seriousness. But all right, I'm gonna drop it. He's old enough.
Listen,
he was
you
old
can be
enough.
somebody who isn't able to present yourself well and still be a very smart individual, right? Like you can be poor
course.
charismatically, but be fucking sharp as a tack.
Definitely.
But that doesn't matter because what we sell in elections here is very much like an image and presentation and aesthetic. Like, unfortunately, that pulls a lot away with the American voter. So he should have not ran again.
No,
we should have had a
agreed.
primary,
Everyone
and
agrees with that.
Democrats
Everyone
probably don't lose in 24. I truly
Well,
believe
so
that.
then let's play this game. You keep saying they don't lose, but you
Despite
haven't said
inflation.
who would beat Trump. Who in your mind would beat Trump if they were on the ballot? Like, give me
I
someone.
genuinely-
Who...
I genuinely think most. I think if Kamala
What?
won a primary legitimately
What?
and ran as a candidate, she
But
probably
what
beats
is that?
Trump.
How is that any different than a long primary? Like, who is she winning over because she was in the cycle the whole time? That she didn't win over the way
Because
it
it was
happened?
it wasn't legitimate. Her candidacy on the ballot was not legitimate in a lot of people's
It was
eyes.
his
It
vice
wasn't.
president, dude.
Yeah,
So
'cause
who's
he bought
legitimate? So
and
who's
went,
legitimate? Should they
since
have run a
Kamala-
primaries in like 30 days? They're not going to do that. You know they're not going to do
No,
that.
he
So then
shouldn't
who's
have ran again.
Of
He shouldn't have
course,
ran
but
again.
in the moment, what do you do if you if you actually had to
You're
lead in the
screwed
moment? And you,
You're screwed in the moment.
yeah, with Kamala,
There's
you're
nothing
screwed
they
with
could have
Kamala.
done there.
Right, correct. You're screwed with Kamala. So.
Right. Because she's not nobody's bought into Kamala at that point as being the president.
That's so dumb to me, man. But whatever. I know at large you're right. Just to me, that's stupid. Like, takes me 3 months doesn't get me bought. 6 months gets me bought. It's like, oh my, what does that mean? But whatever. You're not wrong because it bears itself out in results, and it's frustrating. But can't just look
I
at the
think
policy
Bernie
for a couple
beats-
hours and make your choice. Like, I don't. Who are these people that the months? Anyways.
I think Bernie beats Trump in 24. I think
I think
Elizabeth
Bernie-
Warren probably beats Trump in 24. Although being a woman clearly has its disadvantages, unfortunately, in this
does.
country.
It
If
does. It
you're
still does.
running for president, I mean, it's very clear. I think Michael
I-
Bloomberg probably beats Trump.
Oh
think,
my god.
I do think
for real? Oh my goodness.
I do think so. Dude, Trump was truly that disliked. January
That's
6th was
crazy.
not far in the rearview mirror. It's
Dude,
just
I
crazy
don't
to me that
know.
Biden
That's-
couldn't get
So
out of the
s-
way of his own ego, and he goes, "We're running it back."
But
Like,
your
dude,
stance,
your
but your stance
age was
isn't
an
that
issue
Kamala was
4 years
necessarily a
ago.
bad candidate. Your stance is that she just didn't have enough time because Biden's an asshole, right? Because I'm fine with that.
Right.
fine
Nobody
with
had bought
Because if you're trying to
into
tell me
Kamala.
Michael Bloomberg's a better Democratic presidential candidate than Kamala Harris, I think you're wrong. Like you're like, what? So fair. Like, it comes down to time. It comes down to time.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of Kamala anyway, but
But
yeah, I do
jeez,
think
what Michael Bloomberg? Just the fact that you use Michael Bloomberg, I'm just hung up on it. But whatever, we're moving past.
Well, I was just looking at the top 5 from 2020
Top 5? What by like?
Democratic
By what
presidential primary.
vote share or by fucking?
Yeah, through their primary
delegate.
process, who got
Oh,
the
okay.
most votes.
Whatever.
But
Sure.
the point being is that if they held a proper primary, if Biden got out of his own ego's way, I do think probably whoever they nominate is going to beat Trump. And I could be wrong about that, but
For the record,
just
I completely disagree. and I think any
Sure.
Democrat loses to Trump. But
Any Democrat? No, you're
any
fucking
Democrat,
wild.
no,
bro.
Bernie. I think Bernie can somehow fucking do shit that other people can't. But besides Bernie, like,
Even with the jank way that Kamala got onto the ballot and into that race, she almost won. I think if you do it proper,
she didn't almost win. I know it was closer than people make it out to be last year, but she didn't almost win.
Kamala, she wasn't that far away.
It's like saying Biden, or it's like saying Trump almost won in 2020, because people would be like, "Oh, Biden only won by like 100,000 votes in 3 states." It's like, oh, okay, like we get it. Like, do the same shit every time, you know. Anyways,
I mean, she was within a. She was what? Within a percentage and a half.
yeah. Well,
And that's with the weird way that the
gonna
Democrats
follow
went about
up.
getting her there.
I don't think I read this thing that I put in here, but I'm gonna follow up with the quote, just to get one more part of this conversation, because again, I'm on the record, totally disagree with this other guy over here. Don't know who he is. Don't know who invited him, but whatever.
Hi, my name's Norndithus. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so it's this article, and then a quote from it is, "The Biden administration, and by extension the Harris campaign, fell short of providing a vision for working-class Americans." And so, like, that tied in with inflation is the inherent problem for all Democrats, I think. And this is why all of them would have lost. Because
Yeah, I
there
agree.
is, unless you're Bernie, hang
Yep.
on, let me finish. Unless you're Bernie Sanders, there's no Democrat that can totally divorce themselves from, like, corporate cash and just, like, corruption cash that lives in the fucking system with everyone basically except like a few of them, and Bernie's like one of them, right? So as long as you're tied to that, I think there's enough sense by people who would vote your way to like not participate. And then on the other side, you just have Trump, who is selling to people who think that he's an answer, totally think he's not. Disagree. I have TDS to the extreme. But people do think that way. So I don't know. You really had to like get someone on the other side that would galvanize an extra force that would come in to overthrow Trump's extra force on top of everyone who usually votes, and like how you get votes out. And only Bernie does that, you know? Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I agree.
Biden only won because COVID gave him that little boost in 2020. Go ahead.
Well, that's for sure the case. I think Trump
we
is
agree on
probably
that.
winning a second term if not for COVID.
Yep, we
know?
agree on that. Go ahead, sorry.
And you know what? Arguably would have been less damaging if Trump just had a second term.
We'll see.
Because January
we'll
6th just completely nuked anybody reasonable from
see.
standing shoulder to shoulder with Trump.
We'll see. I do think there's going to be significant. There's going to be
now.
significant damage to institutions.
No, because Elon Musk never happens. Doge never happens.
We'll see. I mean, you're probably right.
You know what I mean?
Right. No, I hear you. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
anyways,
it's a tough timeline
so
to be in. But yeah, sorry. Go
this is definitely the most damaging path Trump could have had. And I just saw today that he did some NBC phone interview, written interview, where he was like, "We're not ruling out a third term. There's ways we can get it done." And I'm like, "Here we fucking go."
Dude, he's always gonna win on the old school battlegrounds of politics, where, you know, you can just. He somehow has the touch of being able to just say whatever he wants, and people just believe he's the answer to everything. And the only way you can fight that on the left is by being disassociated with the big corporate cash and being an actual, like, galvanizing person of the people. And, like, unless the Democrats run that person, it's not going to work against someone who Trump is like that way for kind of like, we're gonna be nice here, but, you know, these people are. He loves the poorly educated. We'll quote him. He loves the poorly educated, right? So you have to be on the left, someone who's like willing to like talk about, you know, banging Citizens United in the bumhole, giving health care to everyone. Like, you just can't. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. And this quote reminded me of it. Again, it's saying like fell short of providing a vision for working class Americans. Like, it doesn't boil down to working class, but it's like. Dude,
I do think
these
a lot
Democrats
of it
are so
boils down to working
stupid. There's
class.
like a senator out of Michigan now that just like, I don't even remember what she did, but it was some anti, you know, not like the greatest pro-worker messaging or thing. And I'm just like, you people are the same thing over and over again. Like, I don't understand how you keep winning. Like, I mean, I guess I'm part of the problem because I vote. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, at least you vote in the primaries. I mean, the biggest problem.
I do.
that Democrats have right now is the only ones that do participate in the primary are neolibs, and we understand what that turns out time and time again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know where they go from here, and it's very frustrating to me that Democrats, at least leadership in the Democratic Party, has had seemingly zero self-reflection since losing to Trump
I
again.
need I
They
need
elect the
Bernie
same
and
old crusty ass fucking leaders for the Democratic Party. Sorry, go ahead.
I need Bernie and AOC to keep their tour up for a while and really figure out
Mm,
who to get behind in 28, because also you can't just have a bunch of leftists all jump in the fucking fray and they all split up votes in certain ways. You just have to be strategic too. Like you have to when the
you
when
know,
the when it really feels like the temperature's getting turned up on like core principles that you wish that we still had but are like shaky. Like you got to just figure it. You got to like play the best you can in the field. Um,
mm,
that doesn't mean get elected like Kirsten Sinema and then just become like a spineless scumbag. But it does mean that like you got to
yeah.
understand the strategy of like coalescing around a candidate early on in primaries, especially in the presidential one, trying to boost their numbers, seeing if you can, get at it. Win any way you can, because if you ever get a Bernie Sanders and somehow he would slip in and then he would do great things and he would overwhelmingly win his next election. Guaranteed.
Could you imagine if we had in
Guaranteed.
2016? I mean,
Yeah, different timeline, man. Different timeline.
it's so frustrating because we're set back decades by Trump's second presidency. Not only his first, but his second. And turning the clock on, turning the clock back on all that damage is going to take a lot of time and effort, a lot of political capital. Like it just sucks because
But
there's stuff that we
could
could be
achieve
dealing with right now.
more. We could achieve more of a positive welfare state after this, because there could be significant backlash to like at least get Medicare for all. Jesus Christ, bro. Like,
Yeah, that's what kills me is Trump hasn't said a fucking word about healthcare. And he had the audacity while running for the 2024 election
so dumb.
of saying, again, we're right around the corner from releasing our healthcare plan. And he was saying that shit in 2015. Like, don't spit in my face and tell me it's raining. Like, it's just crazy to me how fast he's dropped his populist angle now that he's won his second.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
he doesn't give a
a
fuck.
shit. Oh,
He doesn't give a fuck.
No. Just
And, like,
trying to
I just...
do whatever he wants, get away with stuff. Trying to get all of our esteemed sports franchises tied up in the Saudis. It all stinks, bro. It's tough.
It does all stink.
Yeah.
It's hard to walk all this damage back. You can thank Democrats for that. God bless.
Everyone has some culpability here, I would say. But sure, you can pick whoever you want.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, you can pick whoever. All right, why don't you read
I do think, too...
off... Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
I was going to say, just read off the
I
first
was just...
Cicero quote, and we can definitely tie
Yes,
that
which
to
actually
modern times, which is what I think you were thinking.
That is 100% what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But I will say one more thing. I think
Sure.
if certain calls aren't made in 2020 that make everybody coalesce around Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders wins that primary. So that alone gives me a great deal of fucking agita with the Democratic leadership.
No,
But,
I'm upset about that too. I don't know if that's quite right. I'd have to go back and look at it.
It
I don't know
definitely
if that's quite
is.
right.
I
I do
can
remember them all
promise
coalescing
you it
around
is.
Biden at strange times where promises were made.
Right before Super
So-
Tuesday.
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah. Yeah, I have to go back and just gauge, because didn't Warren stay in the race too? So,
Correct.
I'd
And
have
she
to
sort of split
gauge.
Bernie. So, yeah.
Yeah, I have to gauge like what else was going on to see if
They all
the
fucking
culpability-
disappeared right before Super Tuesday. Elizabeth Warren stays
Maybe.
in.
Your boy
There's a
voted in 2020 for
coalescence.
Bernie. It's probably gonna be one of my greatest,
Yeah.
greatest things.
Well, you just write them in.
As far as
What you do is you write them in.
no.
I wrote Bernie in 2016. I did.
No.
I
Nah,
did it
I'm
in
gonna
2020.
I'm gonna keep
obviously.
voting the old D on the working family line. I'll keep doing
There
the
you
same
go.
stuff I always do.